Yeah, you can start. We can start. We can start.
Okay. Before I even start, I just want to understand the audience. By raise of hands, can you let me know how many of you have worked on ServiceNow? I'm not talking about SecOps here, just ServiceNow as a tool. Even it could be an administrator or any other modules of ServiceNow. Okay, I see 6 hands up. Okay, and how many of you have not even touched ServiceNow as a tool? You're just exploring option in ServiceNow as a technology. Never worked on ServiceNow. The one who raised earlier can drop the hands. Okay, it's almost equal. So we have both in a half. Okay, I'll try to
Yeah.
go as basic as possible and also touch on things which people would have done so far, right?
Yeah.
So let's
So Vinay, if you can
yeah.
introduce yourself
Okay.
and tell us our capabilities, then we can start after that, right?
Yes. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Top Skills. I'm your trainer for the day. I'm Vinay. I have nearly 10 years of experience. I worked as a ServiceNow architect uh, in an MNC in my recent job, and I was also building up a practice for ServiceNow. In past 7-8 years, I've been building ServiceNow SecOps and GRC practice for multiple companies. Right. Ankur, do you want to add up on top skills? What all do we offer?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks, Vinay. So Top Skill also, it's a GRC and SecOps specialized company. So we are in this domain from last 5 years. We have trained lots of candidates and companies as well in SecOps, in GRC, in RM, in HRSD, and many modules of ServiceNow. So we are working with big brands as well, Deloitte, KPMG, Grant Thornton, in delivering ServiceNow projects as well as training capabilities. And we have our capabilities of training of different domains, SAP, GRC, cybersecurity, and many more. So with the same, we are here to deliver our experience with you guys, so you can also escalate in your career, your salary could boost 4 times. So we are trying for that. And SecOps, SecOps is one of the uh, demanding skill right now. ServiceNow SecOps, it is in great demand. Daily basis, we are also got lots of demands in ServiceNow SecOps and GRC as well, right? So we want lots of skills to be groomed on SecOps, so we can also use them, or all they can also go into the market and try themselves in SecOps. And the SecOps is ServiceNow especially not only in demand in India. There is great demand of ServiceNow SecOps GRC in abroad market as well. Either it is USA, UK, UAE, everywhere. It is booming, right?
Yeah.
So with the same, Vinay can start
Yeah.
the demo and understand you how important these things are.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, Santosh.
let me start. Let's the
Yeah, Vinay, you
the
can start. I thought Santosh is asking something. His
yeah.
hand is raised, maybe by mistake. You can start, Vinay.
Yeah. Okay. So the main question, right? Why service now? So many of you are familiar, many of you are not. Now, just to tell you what started as a tool, ServiceNow started as a ITSM ticketing tool. Maybe if you ask people who are working at least 6-7 years earlier, they would refer ServiceNow as an ITSM tool, right? Which was just meant for capturing your incident and problem. Let's say you have a laptop issue, your laptop needs to be fixed. Now people used to go to ServiceNow. On ServiceNow, they used to raise a ticket that used to get it assigned to an operation team guy. They would fix fix your laptop on a prescribed SLA. That was precisely ServiceNow till 2017, 2018, right? So that's why you see most of the professionals are ITSM professionals. Now that's when ServiceNow pivoted to become a platform from a tool. So whatever you were seeing earlier as ServiceNow, it was just an ITSM tool, started to add new capabilities in terms of modules, right? It could be customer workflows like CSM and source to procure workflows or technology workflows. So again, we'll go in depth of what each workflow mean or what it is whenever we start our sessions. But to just give a 30,000 feet view, these are the different modules that you see at the top that are, the list is even bigger, but these are the major modules that are, currently ServiceNow is offering. And this specific session is majorly focused on security operations, SecOps, we call it as in part of short form. And the boxes you see are the sub modules, are the important concept of that particular or the offering of that particular module, right? Now, with whatever you take in ServiceNow at the top, you get the below platform as well along with it. So the advantage is if you learn SecOps along with this Now platform, you can extend yourself into something like, GRC, the integrated risk management, DevOps, business continuity seamlessly because you know the below platform. Whatever, how do you write a script? How do you write a API? How do you integrate? How do you use any flow designer flow for doing any of your activities? Again, these terminologies might be new to you for now. Just stick in there. These are the various components of ServiceNow which can be used to interact with data to come out with a structured and unstructured outputs, right? Let's stick it with that for now. Let's not go deep about what could a flow designer do as of now if you're not new to ServiceNow, right? Now, coming back, so this is what it offers, right? When you're getting to something like SecOps, which is a why do you think why SecOps is a booming market? The reason is two things. One is the functional bit. SecOps includes functional knowledge as well. So we would help you understand why do you really need a SecOps module as such in ServiceNow and also in real life. Why does it? What is the requirement of this particular security operations? You need to understand the cybersecurity concept of it. We'll be helping you with most of the concepts of it and also documentation, which you can use it for your future usage, right? And also, it's uh, not as same as something like an ITSM or a custom application which other developers would be developing, right? So the question could be like, why can't they directly hire ITSM developer? Why market is specifically looking out for SecOps? Is this reason, this is a specific narrowed down module which you need to have knowledge on. It can't be simple bookish answers wherein you will if you have done just ITSM, you can't crack a SecOps interview without understanding the core concepts of SecOps. And also even for implementation, you need to know what you're doing, right? Because here you'll be working with various teams who don't understand your ServiceNow language or technology language. They'll be only talking in cybersecurity language. So those will be helping you with those terminologies. What do they mean in the back end? How do they interact in real life? What do they really transform to in ServiceNow? These are the concepts that we'll be touching upon, right? These are important juncture. I want. Does anybody have any doubts before I start explaining about what SecOps has offer as a module on ServiceNow itself? Does anybody have any doubts before we get in?
No,
Feel
I'm
free to
good.
unmute. Yeah. Okay. I don't see any. I'm then moving ahead, right? So ServiceNow has all these modules, sub modules decided, right? Now comes the point: why do ServiceNow came up with a modularized security operation? What is the even need of it, right? Let's understand the problem statement. What is the real life problem statement that ServiceNow is trying to address? Now, These are some stats from previous years, the data that was collected, right? So what happens in any organization? Again, I will not go in depth of each concept here. I'll just talk on a top layer on what does it mean, right? So what happens in any organization? The cyber security team is always understaffed, either unavailability of the resources who understand cybersecurity or the budget they would have, right? So, and the number of incident or vulnerability that they received compared to a number of people who are working is the ratio is too much. It is overwhelming for anybody who is working in uh, this operations cybersecurity operations team to fix all those vulnerabilities or to fix this security incident response tickets. Again, what are those? We'll touch upon in a bit, but just understand there are this uh, incidents or ticket that get generated that need somebody to address. Now the people sitting over there are very less because knowledge is also very limited. Very less people understand this cybersecurity world altogether. So you need a tool that will help optimize all of this and tell you right priority. Now the problem is there are, let's say, the number of vulnerabilities are in lakhs, right? Every time when a scanner generates, it's in lakhs. Again, what are those scanners? We'll touch upon. There are vulnerabilities that will be generating for each organization. The last time when I was working for an organization, a big oil and gas companies that had a vulnerability of 4 million records. Right now, for this amount of record, how do you work upon? How many people would you make it on a system to fix anything? That's where you put in prioritization. Like, I don't want you to fix all of that. Instead of that, you fix only this 5% that will help me solve so and so things. So these are some stats that was collected from all the industries to understand how does the current landscape looks like. That's where ServiceNow worked upon a solution that could actually address this problem, right? So this is the current. If you don't, install any ServiceNow or any other security operation tools like ServiceNow, this is the current situation that team has go through, right? Whenever vulnerability is identified by any of the servers or scanners, it goes through a life cycle. Now what's happening is without the tool, it's all over email and Excel sheet and Teams. So there will be Excels that will be generated, which will have millions of record. Now there will be 2-3 people hired just to assign that Excel sheet rows with who is the responsible for this particular vulnerability, which team is responsible for this server. Again, these terms might be very new to you, but just stick in there once we touch upon those concepts, right? So it's all Excel driven unless you onboard a tool like ServiceNow SecOps. Else it will be, you'll be not be able to catch up with the market, and a huge security incident come in, your whole organization comes down because you are unable to manage your cyber security well, right? That's where ServiceNow has introduced security operation. Now, where does that fit in any enterprise, right? Now, ServiceNow, what it does is, again, all of these terms, you don't have to worry. Just understand these are the terms. We'll go in depth whenever we start our training, right? So what happens? This is the cloud ServiceNow SaaS application which sits in the middle. What it does is it integrates with various tools. I will show you the tools as well. So these are the tools which you were showing earlier. So like something like CM, vulnerability, detection, exploit, all of them come through various tools. ServiceNow on itself doesn't have capability to scan anything and capture the data. ServiceNow will integrate with all of these are the list is around 100 plus tools. I have only taken the ones which are uh, market trending tools which most of the organization install. Something like Qualys where vulnerabilities comes in, right? And what it does, let's say a vulnerability is detected in Qualys, it travels through into ServiceNow. There are this configuration that we do as a developer that will make sense of this Qualys and it will match it up with CMDB. Now that CMDB, after it does, there is a workflow that goes through and say, by this time, this person has to fix this vulnerability. Again, it might sound gibberish unless you get into the system. I do understand. But the overall nature is ServiceNow is gathering data from so many tools and making sense of it. So the role of ServiceNow is giving context to the record. Now it is telling who owns a particular ticket and by when they need to fix it, and where is the vulnerability that is found. So, and how. So who, when, where, how, all of them are getting addressed, right? How do they fix it is also written. Where is the vulnerability is found is also written. Who is responsible to fix it is also written. And what has caused this vulnerability is also written, right? And when was this occurred is also written. So all of them is given in a single record. You will understand when I show up one of the vulnerability record, how it is seen. But yeah, this is what a security operation would look like, on paper. We'll go to system in a while, but yeah, any doubts or any pointers you want to talk it here? Anybody? Have you ever heard of security operations? Your team, anybody heard of using the SecOps to generate vulnerability records or a security incident record? Have you ever seen a mail telling security incident ticket has been generated, so and so?
Can you come again, Vinay?
Like in your current scope of work, right, wherever you are working, anybody saw this SecOps implemented, or a VIT getting stored in ServiceNow, or a security incident response ticket getting generated in ServiceNow? Any idea? Anybody saw
Yeah,
what it could?
like in
Yeah.
our SIM module, we have the ability to connect with the service now. It's been integrated with this, so the ticket are been generated automatically in the this service now.
Okay. So which tool have you connected to ServiceNow? Any idea? Splunk?
Yes, it is Splunk.
Okay. And what do you do after it coming through the ServiceNow?
Yeah, so we have been assigned a few tickets, like whenever there is any vulnerability or any kind of threat in our organization. So we've been assigned, any of the team member been assigned those tickets, and
Yeah.
our team need to work on that, and accordingly we need to take a response, and it will going through the service now only. Yes.
Perfect. So just to add more context, right? Which team do you belong to? Are you belong to SOC team by any chance, or which team are you part of?
Yes, yes, yes.
So you're a SOC team member, right?
Right, right, right.
So you can understand the real what do I say, importance of the tool, right? Imagine if you don't had this tool, you had to always do it in Excel. The Splunk
Yes,
has millions of record throwing up. Yeah, sorry, I was cutting you there.
yes, right. Like if we don't have this tool, then we have to create all the tickets manually, and we need to take like act the response accordingly. So I think it's very useful for every engineer which are working in the snow, like cybersecurity. Yes.
Yep, yep. So someone similarly, each organization will have something like SOC team. It's a mandatory. Whenever you have an organization or an enterprise, you need to have a SOC team. You need to have a vulnerability response team. Now they would need a tool to understand the data that is being generated by all of these scanners, right? So the landscape is huge. So it is going to grow. The more you understand ServiceNow SecOps, the the opportunity is endless. Specifically in Middle East, like what Ankur was mentioning, these markets are growing. I get called majorly from Middle East and Singapore every time. They want security operations because SOC team and vulnerability response team are very critical ladders of any organization who will make sure your organization security is maintained a top priority. And you need to enable, it's like our military, right? Whatever we saw happening for the last month in India. So you need to you need to give better tools to your security team. That was a physical security. This is the cyber security. The more better you give, security tools to the SOC team and vulnerability response team, the better they perform, right? That's where industries are moving towards investing in these tools like ServiceNow SecOps. There are many other tools in the market, but since ServiceNow is also a platform, it's not a tool anymore. They would have already onboarded ITSM, ITOM, and stuff like that. So they extend themselves into a SecOps module. That's the advantage we have above other tools, because when you buy other tool, it comes standalone. It only does SecOps. But with ServiceNow, they can do n number of things along with SecOps, the security operations thing. So what ServiceNow has done is it has divided SecOps security operations into two bits. One is vulnerability management, which is a proactive approach. One is security incident response, which is a reactive approach. So what happens is when a vulnerability is detected in any, so this is something like, you know, you identify something before it even it becomes a threat. So vulnerability, if exposed, can become a threat, then it will become a security incident. So what your left hand side, something at proactive level, it will help you identify those vulnerabilities in each of your system. Again, if you don't understand, don't worry, we'll be explaining each of the concept. What is a vulnerability? What is application vulnerability? What is a cloud vulnerability? How does it look like? How does it transform into a ServiceNow thing? But yeah, but now just understand there is something called vulnerability that runs on every server, and it is there. It will be existing no matter what. You can't run away from vulnerabilities. They are here to stay. Now, how do you tackle it? That's where ServiceNow comes into picture. That will help you prioritize. That will help you give context on what it is. That will help you give more intelligence for you to fix things, right? That is proactive approach. Now, some of these vulnerabilities are might be exposed, or even you might be getting some phishing email, right? Over the some organization do phishing email, or do I say activity to just check if you are able to identify phishing emails or not. So if even when a regular phishing email comes to an organization, what need to be done? And if there are some SOC alerts that come through CM tools like Splunk and stuff like that, so what need to be done? All of them are configured in security incident response. So when
Vinay,
somebody says,
sorry,
yeah,
Vinay,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt you. Abhishek and Santosh has raised their hands. So if we can ask their question, ask them if they have any questions. Santosh, do you have?
That means what kind
Pratik?
of vulnerabilities it will create? Is it related to software or hardware only? Yeah.
sorry, Santosh, can you uh, be more
No,
uh,
so
loud?
can you give some sample examples like what kind of vulnerabilities it will create?
Yeah,
Is it
I'll
related
show
to?
you in the system as well. Just
Okay.
give me 5 minutes. I'll be going through ServiceNow, showing you what kind of vulnerabilities will be shown. Yeah, just stick in for 5-10 minutes. We'll be there.
Pratik, do you have also any question? Okay, no worries. Yeah,
Okay.
Vinay, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll be showing you in ServiceNow as well. Just this is the theory part. Before I move to ServiceNow. Now, so this is what is the advantages of it? You primarily gain visibility. Organization will gain visibility. Then there will be priority based, risk based priority on the tickets, and then you can apply automation and workflow. Majorly, you can go to an extent you can delete the phishing email from the organization itself using ServiceNow automation. So yeah, that's the importance of this particular ServiceNow security operations, right? So this is the overall workflow. I don't want to dig deeper into this, and you will only understand when I go deeper into each of them. But yeah, this is what happens in a vulnerability response. A scanner scans, it comes into ServiceNow. Integrate, you do an integration as part of your configuration. Then you match it up with, you prioritize. We do something called risk-based prioritization. You assign some risk-based prioritization to it. Then you automatically assign it to someone. There is a triaging, like who does what, by when they need to do. The triage will happen. Then either they go and patch it or fix that vulnerability. It will be closed. It will be sent that back to Qualys that this is being closed, or you raise an exception telling them, you know what, I can't do currently. I'll be able to do only after 6 months because this system I have a dependency. I can't change anything for now. Or you can also mark this is not my asset. I don't know why this has been raised to me, so that they can improve and change the CMDB owner of it, right? Again, this will only make sense once you understand what is vulnerability and how does that look in ServiceNow. I do get it, but this is the workflow that ServiceNow has built. Similarly, same for security incident response, wherein you integrate with multiple tools, then you prioritize, then you utilize threat intelligence to make more sense of it. Then there are playbooks that are written in ServiceNow that will go and do actions for someone who is in SOC team. They'll be using these playbooks to fix certain things, right? Then you remediate these threats. Then you close this particular incident. This is second incident. Again, I am not getting in deeper unless I talk about all the vulnerability and everything in detail later. This is the overall workflow for you, what ServiceNow offers, right? Now let me, before I get into ServiceNow, anybody else want to talk? Let me open ServiceNow. Okay. So what all vulnerabilities does it bring in? I think Santosh asked that question, right? So we have, if you see, these many. Okay. So vulnerability response primarily brings, if I show you, all infrastructure vulnerabilities, right? Wherever your Qualys is running and whatever your Qualys or Tenable or anything runs and generates those vulnerabilities, it brings majorly incident infrastructure vulnerability. But we have other sub-modules inside vulnerability response. Where is that? Called, this is infrastructure vulnerability. And we have something called configuration compliance, which brings your misconfigurations of cloud. Something who has worked on AWS or Azure would know that there are configurations that they do in AWS and Azure. Let's say they build a S3 bucket or any of the blob, they do certain configuration. Now this configuration compliance module integrates with tools like Prisma and Qualys, bring those data into ServiceNow. I'll show you vulnerability for now, but yeah, I'm just telling what are the available things. Then there is application vulnerability, which will be majorly on applications which are hosted. There will be tools which will be scanning them, checking for those vulnerability, and those will also be reported here. And containers, the newer addition in ServiceNow SecOps is container vulnerability, where in tools like Aqua, Qualys, and Wiz will bring container vulnerability data, and it is also shown in ServiceNow. We'll get in there deeper later. Now, what would a ServiceNow vulnerability item record would look like? I'll just open one of them. So when a data comes to ServiceNow via, so this has come through, let's say Qualys, right? So what happens is it it generates a summary of what it is and what is the severity and what are the remediation. So you'll usually have a remediation summary here. I don't have an active integration, so you can only integrate active integration in enterprise level. So I'll show you with sample data of what it could look like, and you can see that there is a target by when they need to fix it, and when was this created, and which is the asset which has this vulnerability, and all of this are getting generated by, just give me a minute. There is something called discovered items. And for the people who are pretty new to ServiceNow, we'll also touch base upon basic administrative things like what I just did. What would it mean? How do you do that? 1 second. Okay, this doesn't. Okay, it's fine. So there will be an XML that will be passed from tools like Qualys, Tenable, and using those XML, we write certain rules on which item, which configuration item should it match to, and who should fix it. How did we come to conclusion endpoint security is the one who is responsible to fix it? We would have written a rule in the backend. When they find certain things like this is the rule that applies. That is the workflow and triage that happens. And what is the risk score? We calculate the risk score. So you can see it is critical here. When it was sent, it was critical, but the end risk score is high, which is a one step lower than what it was sent from a Qualys or Tenable. There is a reason. We would have written a rule. It will check the current business context on this particular. Imagine if it is a production server, the criticality is higher compared to a development server or a server which has a internal application to server which does. Imagine you're a bank and there is this vulnerability on a credit card transaction server to a compared to a vulnerability on a server which hosts the application which is meant for internal reward system. So major priority should be given to a server which runs your credit card transactions, right? So we decide that using certain rules. We write something called a risk rule, which which will be deciding this thing, telling that For this kind of servers, market high or critical. For this kind of servers, market medium or low. Now, what would it help for any organization, right? It will occupy their operations team to focus on the critical and high tickets instead of focusing on the low and medium tickets. So that they will fix the important ones first, then they will look at whatever is in high, then they will look at whatever is in medium, they will ignore the low ones. So by doing this, instead of giving them 1 lakh records, we are just giving them 5,000 to 10,000 records to fix. We can also group these vulnerabilities. So something like here, you would be, again, this is a logic we write, grouping logic. So most of the things are no code, low code in SecOps compared to other modules where we write majorly code, but SecOps is majorly no code, low code driven. We do write certain scripts and in rules, especially CA lookup rule and stuff like that. But 80 to 90% is no code, low code. You need certain basic scripting skill to excel completely in SecOps. Coming here, so these 7 vulnerability records were grouped. Now, how was it grouped? We wrote a rule in the backend which would have run over the vulnerability records and grouped it. Right now, again, most of you might get it or most of you might not get it. Right. So what I would say is it would require initial understanding of what each item would mean here on the screen. Right. Why this is why this is called a risk rating, what is the remediation target, and what is the summary, what is severity, what is exploit exist, where all this information is coming from, right, and what are detections. So you need to understand all of this. We'll be helping you with understanding them, right, and how do you configure in ServiceNow is also will be helping you with. Now, what kind of roles do you expect with this? So you can expect to go as a developer or a vulnerability administrator, vulnerability response administrator, wherein either you implement from scratch or you go. So it is I tell people that SecOps module is kind of a machine learning, but where humans are invested to learn, right? Wherein you understand every time there is a wrong assignment, you understand why the rule went wrong. They'll come back, they will assign you back telling that this rule is not working as expected. So then you go back, you research why this rule was an exception. Then you configure stuff on top of it, right? I will help you. Will help you understand all those concepts, and you then
So these are configured in the event management, like the events are configured.
No. So SecOps is completely pulled out of ServiceNow. Other things, the configuration is not using the other like an SLA. Here there is no SLA. You don't see SLA. Similarly, there is no event management kind of a thing. This is configured inside a SecOps module. There are rules for each, right? So something like remediation target will have a remediation target rule. So I can show you here. 1 second. That's why this module requires a specialized person compared to a ITSM or a CSM. That's where the even the market approach is. You only get specialized people. So there are very less people who know SecOps. So you get more money or get more opportunity compared to ITSM. ITSM you can find. So this is where we would have written for a medium high risk, the target day should be 30 days and so risk rating, so and so. Again, we'll get in deeper on what it is and stuff like that. Yeah. Similarly, there are security incidents. Now these are very different from the regular ITSM incident. So you'll see many things that are popped up on the screen, and each of them will have a equivalent backend configuration, and there will be equivalent playbooks that would be there, and a workspace which typically has this playbooks, and you need to configure as a developer these playbooks or the initial ruling, what we do in vulnerability response. Similarly, we need to write these rules in security incident response. There might be slight scripting involved, but majorly it's also 80 to 90% is low code, no code.
Anybody ask any question?
Yes. So at the starting of the training, you mentioned that we are going to learn SecOps and GRC. So both are associated with each other, or GRC will be the separate topic?
No, Jabir. GRC would be separate. This is all about SecOps.
Okay.
GRC is
And are we going to learn about the technical and the functional, both the aspects, or it's purely technical?
technical and functional both. So
Okay.
here we will start from the basic to scratch to advance. So we can
Okay.
start from the basic admin. You know what exactly we need to do from the tool. What are the different features we have? How to handle them. Then we go to the SecOps model. So you can understand everything in better way, right?
Sure.
And pure implementation, right? You will go hands on. You need to do certain exercises, certain assignments, right? You have to implement yourself all the SecOps module. So in the company, when you are going in any company, if you get chance to implement something, you can easily do it. So we will go, as per the market project based approach.
Yeah. And also we'll
Most
give
of the
you,
companies, will also ask about if we have implemented any kind of real-time project in SecOps. So are we also going to learn about it, the real-time
Yes,
projects?
real time
Okay.
projects only. Yes, because the whole thing is scenario based, right? So we will tell you
Right.
what are the different scenarios and how you're going to implement live project in the organization, right? So same terminology, same nomenclature we will follow, so you can easily tell into the interviews and companies as well, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
and also I'll also give you a roadmap of certifications. What are the certifications that you can do in ServiceNow that will help you gain, first of all, certificates of CIS certificates in ServiceNow, and also again that will help add more value into your resume. We'll also give you that roadmap of what are the certificates that you can take when you after you learn these particular modules.
Yep.
Okay, I have a question here. So we have a course in now learning as well for SecOps. So are we
Yes.
replicating the same syllabus, or do we have anything apart from that now learning syllabus?
See, you might have YouTube videos as well in
Yeah.
right, which talks on vulnerability response. Now, does it
Yes.
tell you about where I come in? I have done SecOps implementation for last 5 years. Right.
Okay.
I understand real life problem. Where would an issue come in? And
Okay.
what would be the discussion point? Like, who would be your end user? Now, would you get
Okay.
it in now learning? I'm not sure. You might not get it. You will
No,
only
that
get
is that.
ServiceNow
Yeah,
perspective.
yeah. That is what my question is. So you will be
Yes.
explaining the real time cases, right?
I've
This
been
is
a
not a
ServiceNow
replica
architect
of.
who, yes, definitely. See, my perspective is you'll be a SecOps professional at the end of the course. You can talk
Okay.
in SecOps language,
So
not
the
ServiceNow
implementation.
configuration.
So the SIR implementation, you will be teaching us step by step how from the scratch.
Yes. We
Okay.
won't have the live integration.
Okay.
We'll show you implementation on what it can be, what are the plugins to be installed, where all do you configure. Now, if you ask me
Okay.
integrate with Splunk and show data flowing from Splunk to ServiceNow, that might not be possible because I don't have Splunk tool with me,
Oh,
right? I only have
yeah.
ServiceNow. But I will tell what are the configuration that you need to do for Qualys or Tenable or Splunk. Where is the place where you do the configuration? Where do you enter credentials? Where do you click connect now and start transfer? What happens the moment data comes in? Where do you do the data? I will help you with that portion. Because you should also understand that tools, whatever we say, right, it's all
Yeah.
runs on a server, right? The Qualys or Tenable or Splunk. Now it's practically
Yes.
impossible for anyone to have those data to show you live data coming and going between these two, right? There are
Yeah.
certain things
If
you
we
might
don't
have.
have Splunk, we can also do it through the Postman or Insomnia, right? Just to try.
No, these are, so the thing is, these are not custom integration, right? These are each
Hmm.
integration is a plugin that each, like Splunk could have come up with their own plugin in ServiceNow. So
Hmm.
you might have to install those plugins, configure that plugin. I'll show you how to configure them, how to install them, and where do you configure all of them. Now, when you configure, you need to enter the Splunk URL, where is it hosted, and what are the username, password, and stuff like that. It will bring automatically. Now, then your job starts in configuring what happens once the data is in. What are the transformation that you do to the data? Now, with REST API, you might be able to create directly into secret incident table, right? But you're not utilizing what Splunk plugin is from. But usually, especially in vulnerability response and security incident response. Each company has their own plugin. Qualys has their own plugin. Tenable has their own plugin. Splunk has their own plugin. Microsoft has their own plugin. So they have invested. ServiceNow as well as those tools have invested, because this is also, they can also sell their tool. If you go to each of their website, you will see, a blog specifically dedicated for using ServiceNow, because they can also sell their tool telling that, if you have ServiceNow, why don't you buy Qualys as well? You implement SecOps, we will push the data into ServiceNow SecOps using this plugin. This was built by us. So they are also invested in for this particular module.
Okay.
To cut short, it's
Just
not a
one
custom
last
integration.
question from my side. So, like we have incident managers, incident management team to manage the incidents. Who does really manage these security incidents and the vulnerable threats and all?
Very good question. I think we earlier had somebody talking, right, from the SOC team. Initially, somebody spoke. I didn't see
Yes,
that.
yes, I was. Yeah.
Who was it? Sorry, I didn't see the screen. 1 second. Who was it?
Manoj
This
was
is me,
Manoj.
yes.
Yeah. So somebody like Manoj will be responsible, right? There will be something called SOC team, right, in each organization, who is responsible to handle your security incident. And there will be someone called vulnerability operations team. And vulnerability operations team can have their own name. Each company has standard, their own standard in defining their. Somebody just call it operations team. Somebody call it cybersecurity operations team. Some call it vulnerability operations team, right? So these teams will be responsible to make sure, SOC team will make sure security incident is addressed within less time. Vulnerability management
Yes.
make sure vulnerability will be fixed within stipulated time. Both are parallels. They are not talking to each other. But a vulnerability can be turned into a security incident if not treated. Somebody might expose your vulnerability, and it can be eventually become a security incident. Something like, if you follow regular cybersecurity world, there was a CrowdStrike or Falcon incident that happened earlier this year or somewhere in last 7-8 months, which brought down whole Microsoft, and also airports were shut because of that, right? So that is a vulnerability turning into a security incident. Sorry, Manoj, you are trying to say something.
Yeah, I'm saying you are right. And like the SOC team is the team who is responsible for kind of handling the security incident. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there are the people who are from the different background. So when we will join, then I think we can coordinate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I'm good, Vinay.
Hi, Karthi here. I have some doubts. How many days this course will, and we will get some real-time experience how this works from end to end.
Yeah, the hours and all, Ankur and team will connect with you on the hours and when and everything. But regarding real time, yes. So I'll be giving you certain lab exercises, but that you might have to do it once. In between the courses or after the session, I'll be asking you to do it. We'll be also doing on class live, and I will tell you real time examples on what all could go wrong in organization that you might be careful of, right? So yeah, we'll see. The thing is, the aspect is, we bring in whatever we have implemented earlier, right? And I'll tell you, or anybody who will be training you will tell you all the real-time problems. So it can also be a learning for you whenever you give your interview or whenever you implement, you would be remembering. Okay, I think this was discussed. Yeah. Sorry, you're telling something.
And what is the timing? Timings? Is it the
Yeah,
same
I think
time?
so.
Ankur and team will
Yeah.
get back to you.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are proposing for Saturday, Sunday, as it would be convenient for you guys. Over Saturday, Sundays, 2 hours a day. We are thinking right now 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. IST on Saturday, and similarly on Sunday. So 2 hours, and total duration we are finding it around 40 hours. So based on daily agenda, like 2 hours a day. We will send a content so you can understand it in better way. Yeah. Any question?
Sir, can it be possible for like weekdays? Every day?
Weekdays, we'll let you know. Give us some time. We'll touch base with you offline. Can I know your name, please?
My name is Anish, sir. I attended your GRC class also.
Okay. Yeah, Anish. Yeah, Anish. So we'll discuss. We'll discuss with you separately on that. For the weekdays. So for
Okay.
now, we have proposed it for Saturday and Sunday, 2 hours a day.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, and you will provide it all the recordings. And you will get chance. In first batch, you think that you need to repeat. So in our top skill, we give tremendous opportunity or multiple chances to rejoin next batch without any cost, and all the things will be covered from admin to SecOps with practical and hands-on experience.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Somebody asked
When you say admin to SecOps, so all the parts will be for admin, like ITSM will also be included for as an admin, or what?
Not ITSM, admin features, right? Different configuration of the layouts, UI policy, overview of all the admins, so you can relate the things and you can easily understand the SecOps.
bare minimum which you need for SecOps.
Yeah,
We won't
bare
get
minimum.
into ITSM and
Right,
CS,
huh.
this thing. Bare minimum, if somebody is pretty new to ServiceNow, because we should also accommodate them. We at least the 2-3 initial classes will be bare minimum of admin. Don't expect a CSA standard, right, wherein all the features will be tested upon. It will be bare minimum what is required for you. Let's say if I say down the line your business rule, right? Somebody needs to grasp it. Now, before I telling what is the business rule, it will be difficult for them to grasp it. So initial 2-3 sessions will be majorly on the bare minimum administrator. Then down the line it will be SecOps.
Right. Something about flow designer, because in the SecOps also some approvals was there. So flow designers or notifications, UI policy, business rules. So we will cover that part. First 3 classes, so you can understand those things. Yeah. Any more question, guys?
I think Vijayalakshmi asked, is CSA mandatory? So Vijayalakshmi, it's for taking up certification. The prerequisite is CSA, yes, but you can still go ahead and take up the certification if you want to. There is no checks as such. But I would recommend, if you are starting your journey into ServiceNow, why not have CSA as well? That's add-on, and also it will help you understand ServiceNow in greater aspect. So having that also in parallel, learning that will also help you to even understand much better.
Yes, correct. So we'll also, as Vinay also said, will cover the certification journey, like how you can achieve these certification, these things. So we'll cover that. And last thing from my side, we will give our best efforts. Your dedication and your sincerity also important, guys. Right? And
Yes,
punctuality as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially
Vinay,
like
you can go. Yeah, sorry.
especially like when we are talking about some functional concept, right? So we might not be able to get in depth like what SOC team would, like if you're a SOC member or a vulnerability operation team, what they would do for each thing, right? You might have to, I will be able to give an overview of it. You might have to research in depth if you want to know that better. Something like, what is a CVSS score, or what is and again, these terms might be pretty new to you. What is a CV score? We'll be talking about them. We'll be talking about basic stuff on them. But you might have to, if you're interested, you might have to research as well. And also configuration, there'll be some lab exercises we'll be designing. I'll be working out with Ankur to design those. But yeah, we would expect you to come up with those lab exercises. There might be chances you might miss on that in the very next day, but at least for the next week, whenever you are back, we expect that to be done, because it's a mutual thing. We don't treat it as a classroom, a teacher-student thing. It's more of learn and co-learn, right? Somebody like Manoj can add in their experience today, what they do in SOC. which is pretty new, which is for people in ITSM, right? We take that experience as well. How would you see it whenever you're doing it in SOC? And yeah, same thing. Somebody from ITSM can share their experience in how they see the security incident response ticket different from a ITSM ticket. So something you need to also collaborate and also contribute to the sessions, whatever we do. It can't be a one-sided conversations is what I was trying to say. Anybody more?
Can you tell what are all the concepts? That means what are all the concepts will be covered in this course?
First, initially, it will be base level administrative things like something like a flow designer or a business rule, a base level thing, not in depth. Then whole of vulnerability response. What is vulnerability? Infrastructure vulnerability response, configuration compliance. Since you learned about vulnerability response, we'll just touch base on container vulnerability. How does it? It's a replica of vulnerability response. So it will be infrastructure vulnerability and configuration compliance, which are slightly different with each other. So we'll be touching base on those two in vulnerability response. And in security incidents response, all the whenever we are talking about vulnerability response, we'll take example of Qualys or Tenable. How do you do integration configuration of those, and what are the different lookup rules or rules that you write in vulnerability response in each of them. Similarly, in security incident response, we'll touch base upon each of the concept of security response, including the playbooks. If you want to alter playbooks, how do you alter playbook, including the workflow? How do you configure the bare minimum security incident response module?
That means life cycle of vulnerability and security.
Life cycle. Yes, life cycle as well as the triaging, assignment automation, assignment rules. But one disclaimer is we don't have any live integration active because it's impossible for institutes to have them. Only enterprise can have them. Yeah, sorry, Santosh, tell me.
You explain about these integrations also, right? How to configure and
yes. We'll show where do you find, how do you what the life cycle of integration as well, starting from finding of plugin to installation to configuration to starting of the jobs to what happens when there is a failure to that.
Actually, sir, my perspective was to learn as a consultant, like if we get recruited or get appointed somewhere as a consultant to implement this. So
yes,
the practical foundation data to what are the core challenges.
That's what. And I think it's a inclusive thing what we bring in as well, right? It's not pretty exclusive of whatever we are telling. It will be down the line a SecOps or a cybersecurity consultant will be. You should understand the number of people who are available in the market to number of jobs which is available in SecOps specifically is, the gap is huge, right? Because if you go through the last hour, the number of new terms you heard, in spite of being in IT industries, would be very high for people who are in ITSM or any other things, right? This is the scale that is, right? There are very new things that not many people would know. That's what gives you an advantage compared to, let's say you learn an ITSM, 80% of the market is ITSM people. Now you have to compete with them who has 8 years experience or 10 years experience in them. But here specifically in SecOps, you hardly have people in thousands across the world. Now there is rarely competition.
Yeah.
Correct. So it is in great demand, and we all were consultants. I'm PwC alumni. I left PwC as associate director. Vinay left KPMG as a director. So we are ex consultants of different companies, and in ServiceNow you are always be a consultant, right? So
Yeah.
position will be always a consultant position.
Yeah, even I have been working on a ServiceNow project, from the management side perspective. But when it comes to discussion, I should be, aware enough that what is the best fitment for the implementation, what should be the right approach,
Yep.
when it comes to like in a large environment where we have integrations with, or maybe interfaces with multiple modules, like asset management is there, configuration management is there, and then SecOps sits in between.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that the integrities and nitty-gritties. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes, correct. All right.
Fair
This
enough.
was really wonderful discussion with all you guys. So if you have any, last minute questions, so we definitely wants to answer that.
So just my problem was like I wanted to do it fast, and like I was looking for the weekdays itself. Mm,
Yeah, sure,
yeah,
sure. Those
yeah.
we'll discuss in the group.
Mhm.
We can work on that. Definitely, for weekdays and weekends, we can discuss with all of you, and further we can start the batches accordingly.
Okay,
Yeah, Vijay Lakshmi. Yeah, sure. Definitely, we'll discuss with you guys.
thank you.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
So
So Vinay,
everything we can practice in PDI, right? So that means whatever you have
Yeah.
covered, all the
PDI,
concepts.
PDI.
Okay.
That's what.
yeah,
PDI will have it.
personally, yeah. You need to configure your personal development instance also. Vinay will help you how to configure that,
I'll show
and
in mine. You can replicate the same.
yeah, and we'll provide you some study materials also. Some PDFs and uh, guides so you can
Even
understand.
installation of plugin we can start doing in front of you only, so
Yeah.
you can understand which plugins to choose. Why we chose that plugin only specifically? Because if you type volunteer response, you'll at least find 25 plugins. Now you need to know
And
what to
s-
choose.
and sir, by any chance, like, do we have that kind of like wherein we get a set of exercises, like steps, if you can give us, and we execute it our own, because if it's a
Yeah,
new
so
module.
that's what I was mentioning, right? So after major juncture, wherever we configure certain rules, so
Mhm.
I would be doing one of them. I would ask all of you to do the other one. Like let's say I do for high and critical risk, I might ask you to do for medium and low risk with giving my own conditions, right? Now then we
Yeah.
come back in the next session, we discuss why did you take that approach, right? Some of you might show on
Yeah,
screen
with
on,
with set of instructions that would help us to like initially do.
yeah.
Okay.
Right. And in the last, I just want to tell you. So we are TopSqill is not just a training company. It's a consulting company like PwC, KPMG. We are also have our own practice, GRC practice we do have. So we are preparing our SecOps practice as well. So from you guys, to whom we think that you are capable enough to be part of our practice, so we can take your services as well. Going forward
Mhm.
after trainings or after some months.
I was not aware. I attended your one of the batches. I remember like a couple of months ago.
Mhm.
And yeah, I went through the training, but I was having an impression. Still, I'm having that impression, like till today, that you are basically organizing the training part itself. Okay,
No.
was
So
not
we
aware.
are we are majorly in consulting. We are authorized partner of Grant Thornton, Deloitte, and
Oh,
PMG. Yeah, we are working with them for GRC implementation, for SAP implementation, for Archer implementation, ServiceNow implementation. So we are working with them.
mhm.
So we are growing, and we are looking for talented people to collaborate with us also. So yeah,
Oh,
so our we
mhm.
have both domains: training development plus consulting.
Good to know that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
All right, guys. So this is really wonderful session. So after this, we'll collaborate with you guys for further questions and discussions and enrollments. So please, answer our, uh, you know, things. And if you have any queries, you can come back to us. Thanks, Vinay. So do you have anything for last minutes, or we are good to close?
I think that's it. I would say, irrespective of you join here or not, but do look into ServiceNow SecOps as a career. It
Yeah.
has very good opportunity. Right, I'm one of the person who took the fruit of it, and even I see many people calling me up for opportunities. I feel this community has to grow. We call it as our own communities like GRC and SecOps. We are a very close community. Hardly we see newcomers coming in. So we definitely want people to take that as a passion, a cybersecurity or a CA GRC, right? And
Yes, sir. By any chance, will you be sharing any training certificate afterwards, or
Yeah, completion certificates.
yeah,
Yeah, completion certificates would be there.
with the CP hours, like we have attended
Yes,
so
yes.
many hours, and that's kind of a proof. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it could be helpful for you maybe in some
Maybe.
interview.
Maybe. Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. That's all from my end, sir. Thanks, Vinay and Ankur, sir. Thank you for your.
No worries.
For,
Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Please do answer our calls if my team reach out to you. Thanks everyone.
thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks.